in the city that never sleeps. Even the strongest can be blindsided by life's unexpected turns. After ignoring the signs, Eric Stoller, a high-powered business broker, faced a wake-up call he couldn't ignore. With a second chance on the line, Eric embarked on a journey to reclaim his health and transform his life. Now, he's sharing that journey with you, exploring the 4 pillars of health: mental health, weight loss, sexual health, and pain management. From the latest medical breakthroughs to age-old holistic practices, we'll take you behind the scenes, into the conversations that matter most. Join Eric as he uncovers the secrets to living a healthier, fuller life and learn how you can too. This is more than a show. It's a journey, one man's path to redemption, and a blueprint for your own transformation.
Hi, this is Eric Stoller for the Eric Stoller Show and the Patient Zero series. I'm here today with Hi, this is Eric Stoller here for the Eric Stoller Show and the Patient Zero series. Hey, we're back with another great episode. I'm excited to be here with my brother from another mother, another New Yorker, a good friend from Long Island, Ronnie Eith, but he is another South Florida transplant. And man, we got so much to talk about, some great stuff. Ronnie not only is a mortgage expert, real estate expert, but also runs Boost TV, one of the top streaming channels here in South Florida and going national and globally. And we're going to talk about what we're doing together. Ronnie, thanks for being here on the show today.
Yeah, man, I've been down in South Florida so long that I actually think the Whole Foods pizza is good.
What happened? It's like Brooklyn pizza. You're like, Whole Foods, it seems like it's good. I know, man.
I know. Yeah.
So let's talk, because we got a lot of things we want to cover.
100%.
And, you've been pretty much living down in South Beach and living that, that lifestyle. I've been, a dad,
You're in the family mode up here.
Yeah, Aventura. It's like, but let's talk about, in general, real estate.
Okay.
Because I think both of
one
us,
of my favorite things to speak about.
Yeah, I mean, I've been an agent forever. I've done tons of sales. You've been, agent, but really on the mortgage side,
Correct.
working with tons of agents. So what do you think's happening right now with the marketplace?
I think right now, see how I just took a deep breath? I
Yeah.
think the market is taking a deep breath right now. And for good reason. Listen, nothing can go up, forever. Everything has to go up, come down. It has to oscillate on that line.
Right.
And if real estate just continues to go up price-wise, it's gonna crash if it just goes in a straight line up, because you don't have enough buyers that can afford it as prices continue to escalate and compound. What we see happening now, and I've been talking about this for the past 6 months, we're seeing some of the leading indicators in real estate. For those of you that aren't in real estate and not a professional for 40 years like you are, and amazing because he's only 40 years old.
That's right, can't believe it.
But what we're seeing right now in some of the major indicators is days on market, price changes, and then how many months supply that we have. Right now in Miami-Dade, we have about 12 months of supply with condos, and we have about a 6.5 to 7 month supply overall. And according to my good friend Anna Bozovic, who's known as Anna Analytics, what she is really preaching is that the real estate market is very segmented and siloed. So you have the high-end market, which seems to be performing great because
it's kind of insulated.
It's insulated. We have this, continuous, steady influx of, high net worth individuals that are moving to South Florida.
Right.
So that higher end of the market is really doing okay.
Right. And let's just say this is a global get for people. So the money flows. When you're talking to millionaires and billionaires,
yes,
people are paying cash for a lot of these properties too, in their second and third home.
We're still at about a 35% cash market here in Miami.
Yeah.
Down off the highs from, let's say, 10 or 12 years ago when we were coming out of the recession, where we were at a 60% cash market.
Right.
So, but what we're seeing is that in that middle range, the first time home buyer range, the lower end is going rather quickly. It's in that middle range, the range between like 600,000 and like 1.5 million. That's where you're seeing some stagnation. I just saw a house in my neighborhood just sold recently. It was listed for $3 million. It was listed 5 months ago for $3 million. It sold for 2.2.
Yeah.
So it sold for what, like 35% off what the list price was. A year or two ago, probably would have sold, and it would have sold quickly.
Sure. Well, I think right, and And I was seeing also in the rental market
Mm-hmm.
as well. In fact, I looked at my neighborhood because I live in a townhouse,
Right.
and the prices, somebody had one up for, let's say, $6,500 a month. Now, just a few years ago, they were renting those for half.
Oh yeah.
But that's been on the market since March. Then I looked and I see another one, same style, 5,500. It just went on the 31st of July.
To the rental market. So I own my houses in New York. I've always been renting down here. And I was renting an apartment for the past 3 years. And in January, my landlord, who I'm very friendly with, I've known her for years, she came to me and she said, listen, we're going to raise the rent up $700. I said, $700? She wanted to raise the rent up to like $3,500. I said, what? Where are you basing this from? Like, I'm seeing properties taking so long to rent. She said, well, they raised the cost. We had an assessment. We had this. And that's not my problem. You've owned this property for 20 years. It's not my problem that they hit you an assessment and the insurance costs went up. I took my time. I went and I found another apartment with a better view, superior building, better amenities for $400 less than what I was paying in rent at that apartment.
So we're definitely in a correction in the rental market as well.
But the landlords are still in it's almost like they're in that ether of rents are going up. I was getting $2,000 3 years ago for this apartment. Now I can get $4,000. Well, you could list it for $4,000, but doesn't mean you're going to get $4,000.
I think the other thing happened that people fail to realize, there was a lot of people from New York and places that came down here. I had people that moved for a year.
Yeah.
And this guy worked for a big shoe company. Yeah. And after the year, they went back.
Yeah.
And, they had a little kid. So a lot of that, people that brought their money here and left. Now we're in a bigger correction too, right? The prices are higher on all goods. Borrowing money is super high. I mean, I don't know what it's done.
And a lot of these financial companies have said, a lot of the financial companies based out of New York and Boston and Chicago have said, hey, we want you to be in the office a certain amount of time each week. In fact, I almost think that it's almost a diabolical situation that's going on, because a lot of these big companies are owned or they're backed by some of these really, really big financial institutions, the BlackRocks of the world. Who do you think owns all of these commercial buildings? The BlackRocks of the world.
Sure.
So if they have, the vacancy rate is going up on the commercial spaces, that's really damaging all of BlackRock and some of the other,
their portfolio
values.
Sure.
So what do? They go and they tell the companies that they're heavily invested in, hey, don't let your workers work remote. Tell them that they have to come back to the office. We need to work together to protect what we have here. And so I same way. I know plenty of people that have moved down here from West Palm down to Miami. They moved down here, they're working remote, they're working the financial markets, insurance, what have you. And they have to move back because, the time has come. And what's going to happen with that? They're putting their properties back on the market to sell. That's why part of the reason why we have a 12-month supply of condos.
Right.
They're renting out their properties and then they're going back to the properties that they had back home.
Yeah, you're in, and now we got a presidential election coming up. So I think people are going to wait and see. I mean, whatever, the outcome there. I mean, to borrow money is a little high right now. And I think, like you said, the average person in that sweet spot, that 600 to $1 million, it's tough.
Yeah.
And like you said, you got to hunt a little because there's going to be deals. Like I said, I look in my neighborhood, there's not much for sale in the place I'm in, but some of the other ones is 4 or 5 and none of them are moving because people are just, hey, like you said, this person sold that from 3 down to 2.2.
Right.
It's a huge correction.
It's a huge correction. And I think the other correction that we're seeing, there's a lot of talk in the media about the stock markets, what happened in Japan and India and Europe, and then our market. I think we were down, almost 1,800 points on the Dow in the past, week or whatever.
Right.
And the reality is that forget about that, because stock markets move like the price of gas.
Of course.
Right? It moves up and down very rapidly. And in fact, today my investments were up, right?
Right.
But let's look at some of the other economic indicators that are really having an impact on the housing market. Auto loan defaults are exploding. Credit card debt is at its all-time high. We're seeing people, even though short-term debt, credit card debt, personal loans, et cetera, even though those are at some of the highest interest rates of all time, people are they're holding on to a cinder block as they're sinking in the ocean with this debt. You look at some of that, then you look at the unemployment numbers, you look at the inflation index. When you combine all of these things together, it doesn't really paint a very happy and fortuitous economic picture for the real estate market to continue going up. Something's got to give.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So, and let's talk about from the lending side right now, because you working in that side of
Yeah.
the business, working with realtors, having lenders. What's the tone or the genuine, like, the market out there, the energy out there?
So I have to say that, mortgage loan officers are typically the laziest salespeople in the world,
Okay.
right? Because typically the way that they operate is they get a lead, they get a deal, and then they just, they sit on that deal like a mother, goose sitting on the eggs waiting for them to hatch, right? And the really successful mortgage loan officers are the ones that have a system set up that go out and hunt or whatever. And what I've seen on the team that I manage the media for and that I'm involved with, and we're doing a great partnership, you and I discussed it with a lot of realtors now. What I'm seeing happening is that because we have all these other programs that nobody ever really used because they were so seldomly used, first-time home buyer programs, community lending programs, DSCR type loans, all these other programs that nobody ever really used. Now my team, right, where we're over 100 strong loan officers, we're crushing it right now. Like we have people that, last year maybe closed 5 million in business. They've got 15 million in their pipeline. Why? Because they realized they have all these other tools in their tool belt. All they were ever using was their hammer and their screw gun.
Right.
They didn't realize that they had a chisel, they have a square, and they've got chalk line, and they've got, all these other, tools that were there that they just never used to help people get into their house.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I think the use of technology, the numbers game, because people are always buying and selling regardless.
Yep.
And obviously finding qualified buyers.
Yeah.
is so key. And then what's happening on the lending side in terms of credit, things of what they got to provide?
Things
Is
have-
it pretty
Things have
easy?
stayed the same. I'll tell you where I see the biggest difference, and this is where, thankfully, technology is so helpful in this. It used to be, even up until 5 years ago, it used to be you applied for your loan, you had to provide all of your documents, your tax returns, your W-2s, your pay stubs, several months of bank statements, photo ID, everything. Now the way that it works, you send a link to a potential buyer, somebody that's trying to buy a house. You send a link, they fill it out with their name, social security number, their basic information, and that app is now connected to the electronic loan origination system, automated underwriting system, and it connects all of the information in your phone because everybody does their banking on their phone.
Yeah, for sure.
Connects everything. It'll pull their tax returns electronically. It'll pull their W-2s, their pay stubs. It'll pull all their bank statement data in a matter of seconds.
That's amazing.
So the good part about this, and why I say this is good, is that it used to be, okay, let's say you came to me and said, Ronnie, I make this much money. Here's my information. I'd put it in. System would give us an approval. But that approval is only as good as the information that you gave me. Now we know that in South Florida, right?
Right.
Everybody's driving a Ferrari, but yet, they got nothing in the bank. So it's smoke and mirrors here. So what we've seen is that the quality of the upfront approval has gotten so much better because we have 99% of the data up front.
Right.
And that has changed, I think, a lot of the relationships with realtors. That's changed a lot of the relationships between mortgage people, their clients, and the realtors and the title companies and attorneys or whatever, because we know going into a transaction how strong that borrower is and how fully qualified they are.
Got it. So we're talking correction in the market, somewhat of a robust mortgage market that people are buying and selling.
Yes.
And it's really taking the reps to be more efficient and effective with the tools they're provided.
100%.
And again, the same thing with realtors. There's always realtors. You go look, there's always deals made. So whatever you're hearing in the news, the market, there's always transactions being done. In fact, this is actually a really good time to start buying because now you're going to find people that are...
I think it's a buyer's market right now, especially in South Florida. Now, some of the other markets up north, once you go past like DC into New York, things are coming on the market, and people just aren't selling their homes because it's a less transient population up there. Where South Florida is super transient, a lot of second homes down here.
Of course. Hey, this is Eric Stoller here with Ronnie Eith. We're going to be right back on the Eric Stoller Show with the Patient Zero series.
Boom.
All right. Are you a med spa, a weight loss clinic? Well, I have an amazing opportunity for you. I don't know if you've heard of the Ultimate Contour device, but it's sweeping the nation. It's the #1 ultrasound fat shredding device on the market today. It's a low frequency ultrasound device that literally after 15 minutes of treatment starts to melt the fat away. So if you're a med spa doing all kinds of aesthetic treatments, spa treatments, this is a perfect complement to help all of your patients, especially the ones on a weight loss journey, melt away the fluffy fat. We have amazing finance options that will allow you to get in for, low monthly costs to get you kick-started. And many of our spas are buying not 1, but 2 and 3 and 4 machines because they're just really accelerating in a way that they never thought was possible. Hey, if you're serious about adding new services as a med spa, click the link, find out more so our team can help you get there today. Hi, this is Eric Stoller, back for the Eric Stoller Show in the Patient Zero series. I'm here with Ronnie with Boost TV. And so we're going to talk entertainment, media. We're going to talk about everything Miami, right?
Let's go.
So let's talk about it because, with the real estate, as long as I know you, you've been a mortgage, broker, manager, running offices. Sure. And then you started segueing, doing more of the video, and at the open houses.
Sure.
I know you were using it originally like as a value add for your clients.
Yeah.
So I guess, was this something that you always had an interest in media?
Yeah, so
behind the camera?
it's funny, if you go and you look on YouTube, I did a bunch of mortgage videos back like 2009, 2010. And then when I went to go work for Citibank, they had a very strict social media policy. They didn't want anybody posting that they even worked there or do anything to do with work.
Right.
So I guess around 2017, I was always taking my team and going to visit high-end open houses, mansions, penthouses. And of course, at this time, Facebook Live became big, and I started using Facebook Live, and I'd be at these $5, $10 million houses and penthouses with spectacular views, and I'm going live, and they went viral, right? Some of them I was getting 50,000 to 100,000 views.
Wow, amazing.
I ended up on local TV. From local TV, I ended up on regional TV. I ended up producing my own stuff. And I literally left Citibank to go focus full-time on creating media content and developing TV shows.
Wow.
And I think what happened was when I always knew that I wanted to be streaming because I knew that streaming was the future. Even though in 2018, 2019, I was on regular cable TV locally, I knew that streaming was the future because you could reach such a huge audience and you can control what you're doing and the content. So when COVID happened and I was locked in my house for the first month or two, I literally just sat in front of my computer and I coded and I realized how to create storage facilities for all of the content and then connect those storage facilities directly onto a streaming platform, develop the HTML coding and the CSS coding, and then port it over to Roku. And luckily, my station got approved on the first try.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you started this channel, and now I know you're out. You're doing interviews, different places, hosting events.
Sure.
Not just real estate.
No. I started, my first show was actually a lifestyle show called Definitely Miami. And I hosted it with Tony Thomas, who's an MBA and NFL agent. He's a financial planner. He's also been voted one of the top trainers in Miami for the past 15 years going by the Miami New Times and whatever other publications are out there. So it was an interesting juxtaposition because he's 6'5", he's super muscular. You look at him, you think he plays for the Miami Heat. I'm a 5'10", middle-aged, bald white guy, right? But our friendship was evident on camera. We've been friends for years.
Sure.
And all that we did was just kind of bring a film crew with us to go film what we were doing.
Right.
Well, we're going for lunch, we're going for dinner, we're going to work out, we're going to this event, we're going to meet this person.
You guys, just your
Boom.
life.
And that's why the show was really successful. And then from there, I started to develop the real estate show Caravan, which now I'm producing episodes in joint ventures with other large networks up in New York.
It's fantastic.
I just got approved, licensed with Amazon Prime and with Tubi. But the other thing, which I think is huge, and what really is the key to this streaming platform, is that everybody can put a video onto social media, right? But not everybody could be on streaming TV.
Right.
And once I got the streaming TV platform settled, a lot of people came to me and they said, hey, I'm creating a lot of good content. I'm on YouTube, but having trouble getting sponsors, or I'm having trouble monetizing it. So I helped them to take their content, and I'm publishing it onto the platform. And even some of your content, your library is on there. People could watch it on there on Boost TV. Just download it on Roku and Amazon. And I think that it's such a difference maker between being on YouTube, being on all these other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever.
Sure.
Because I think there's like 3,500 total streaming TV channels in the world.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
And I'm one of them. And it's huge, and it's great because when I go to some of these industry meetings, or I go and I talk with sponsors, or I go talk with people that are professionals in our industry, it gives you that extra level of credibility that nobody else has.
Now, I find that very interesting because, obviously people go to YouTube, they say go to YouTube, you can monetize.
Mhm.
But I guess like YouTube is being in a giant ocean.
There's billions of channels on YouTube.
And so you're kind of going to get lost.
Mhm.
So now we're talking about being real specific and getting, I think you said viewership is between 10 and 20,000.
Yeah, on a
viewers
daily
day.
basis. Yeah.
And so they're going to just like a regular TV channel, they're now honing in on what programming they want.
Mm-hmm. What we see happening in streaming, the streaming world is very interesting. Everybody knows streaming. Or, maybe 5 years ago, the only thing people knew about streaming was Netflix and maybe Hulu and Amazon Prime. But the streaming world has gone through a metamorphosis in the past 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the subscription-based services, the Netflixes, the Amazon Primes, the Hulu, the Disney, whatever. We've seen their subscription base dwindle, right?
Okay.
Decrease, and we've seen the free platforms, Tubi, Pluto. There's top 10 of them. They have gone up. In fact, Pluto. Let's just talk about Pluto and Tubi.
Okay.
And the other thing that we've seen, in addition to this, is we've seen all of the major production companies, Paramount, Fox, all of them, even Amazon Prime. They have a subscription model channel, and then they have a free channel.
Interesting.
So let's take Pluto. Pluto is owned by Paramount. Okay, Pluto started 2014, 2009. It started in a garage, basically. Started out with just a couple of channels. Now they've got over 150 channels. They sold it in 2019 for $340 million. Now it's supposed to be worth like $1 billion. Tubi's part of Fox. Tubi is Fox's free channel, which we just got licensed for the real estate show on Tubi. And Tubi, they used to have somewhere around, they started only about 5 or 6 years ago. This past year, they have, 80 million viewers in the United States and Europe and parts of Central and South America. They're really not in all of Europe yet, though the rest of the world. And they're doing, almost $700 million in revenue.
Wow. So they're getting their revenue from advertisers.
Exactly.
People that
it's called AVOD, which is advertisement video on demand.
And so who are you seeing that are attracted to the free, and then those are still, dedicated or wanting the subscription? How are they seeing that happen?
What's crazy is, so I'm in an interesting position because the real estate show has been licensed by Amazon Prime. It's been licensed by Tubi. We see so many more people watching it on Tubi than Amazon Prime because Amazon Prime they charge for it. And so we're seeing that difference. So right there, it's telling me just basic common sense. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a computer whiz. We're looking at it. We're saying the free streaming model is the way to go.
Absolutely.
Now what we're looking to do is kind of copy the Tubi, Pluto, free business model and explode the content on Boost TV to get up to 3,000 titles. Because we know if we have that many titles, then we keep people on the app for that long, which then increases viewership.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
So let's talk now about, Boost TV. And if you're like, let's say you want to advertise, you're a small business, you could be a doctor,
Mhm.
like, Champion is a media company, an event company. How are people really monetizing these days?
So it's interesting. There's we're in full control of everything. So let's say you want to shoot your show and you want to put any kind of advertiser into it. That's great. We could put it in there, put it on the streaming platform. We're
Hmm.
good to go. Everybody that sees that, then we could either put a QR code or put a linkable code on the screen. So if you're talking about, I don't know, like this phone, buy this phone, or hey, I love this phone, they're a sponsor of the show, etc. We can incorporate their advertising right into the platform. So when viewers are watching, we see that. The other thing that we didn't talk about in terms of why streaming is better than social media. Social media, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, the social media platform owns your customer. On streaming, we know where the customers are coming from. We see their IP address. We could create targeting campaigns and geofencing campaigns based off of all their data. We know how long they're, we know everything about them. Whereas in the social media world, social media companies, they know everything about it, and that's how they're monetizing it.
Got it. And so it's almost like you're kind of in the middle of, they're the aggregator or the distributor.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, that makes a lot of sense about being a streaming channel. So let's talk about our partnership because Champion Mindset, the Eric Stoller Show, we're going to be putting more programming.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you just said to me, "Hey, why don't we have guests from the show?
Yeah.
Have it not just be on YouTube, but be
Exactly.
on the channel."
Because think about it, it also gives them another level of credibility. It used to be back in the day, if people wanted to really get media exposure, they go on like the local radio shows or the local morning TV programs, right? But then you're at their mercy, and then they kind of control the data. With them being on here, this is a way for them, especially like the realtors. Let's talk about the realtors. Right?
Yeah.
Realtors, this is why our show has had so much success. Realtors love being on it because then when they're at a listing presentation or they're with their clients, they could just pull up their phone and show them, hey, I know you spoke with 5 other real estate agents,
Sure.
but are they on this platform? Are they does their marketing program or their marketing, strategy include having your property or my office featured on this platform, on Roku, on Amazon, on Tubi, on Amazon Prime? It's a huge win. And economically, it could go anywhere from $500 to $5,000, depending on how long they want to be on the show and how
Sure,
much they want to be
absolutely.
featured and how much marketing. It's pound for pound, dollar for dollar, penny for penny. Streaming TV is the best marketing platform that any professional can be on.
Limiting beliefs, and they just have some wrong mindset. And I work with celebrities, I work with super successful people, with wealthy people, and they have only one common problem: overthinking and focusing on wrong things.
So
Instead of adding some value in your life and some things which, the art of simplicity, they make it complicated. They don't have enough excitement, they don't have enough enjoyment, they don't have enough new experiences. And then life becomes so dull. Life becomes like to-do list.
Well, first, before even thinking about us, I want you to really think about staying in your zone of genius. Because right now, everybody's trying to do everything in their practice. And you want to stay in, we say it's the 5%. So stay in the 5%, delegate out that 95% of extra stuff that other people can be doing for you that are probably going to do it better than you can, which is going to help you build your business. But once you are okay with letting go of some of those things, then contact me because I will help you get the systems in place, put the people in place that you need, and then have your business become more profitable and rapidly scale it. Because once we can remove you from the day-to-day and you act as that CEO, it's endless possibilities.
And I think the other exciting part is you can keep growing the audience by targeting the right clients versus,
Correct.
you know, I know we do a lot of paid ads or people who do paid ads and they're
Mhm.
like, I got the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because you get people scrolling at 3 a.m., not really caring, like, what did I sign up for?
Right.
Get a lot of that. So if people want to connect and find out more about Boost TV and find out about either we can, you know, get them some info or they
Mhm.
want to engage about getting on the channel, how do we do that?
So super simple. You can go to Roku, go to Amazon Fire. If you have your Fire Stick and Amazon Fire Stick, just type in Boost TV. You download the app. You can see it right there. You can also go to www.boosttv.tv and our streaming feed. All right, our linear channel, our fast channel is right there on the homepage.
Awesome, awesome. So hey, I'm here with Ronnie from Boost TV. This is Eric Stoller. Find out more. We're going to do lots of great stuff, whether it's my show or the real estate shows or all the amazing program he has. And then we're going to continually add. So
Let's go.
maybe you're a content provider and need a place to host it.
Yep.
Let us help you. Ronnie, thanks again for doing this.
No, I love it. Love it. You know, you're an old friend, and you know, there's nothing better than hanging out in a camera room with a bunch of hot lights and you know, and getting mic'd up and just, you know, really talking about things we talk about just over lunch a lot of times.
Exactly, exactly. Now we can share this with the world and let people know what's actually happening out there. Hey, thanks again. This is Eric Stoller, Ronnie Eith here for the Eric Stoller Show and the Patient Zero series. Wishing you the best, and we'll see you real soon.
Let's go.
You know what I want from you.